Pizza in the morning.
Pizza in the evening.
Pizza at supper time.
When
pizza's on a bagel,
on a bagel,
you can
you can
have
eat pizza
anytime.
anytime. Welcome to GWVersus. We put the V in GVG with extra cheese on top. Hello and welcome to the Guild Wars Faction Championships commentary. Today we will be observing the season quarterfinals match between the Esoteric Warriors and Bring Back the Rifts in their round 1 match. This is Versus' staff member Miss Serious Business speaking, and our guests today are Esoteric Warriors Elendar. Say hi.
Hello.
And we have Bring Back the Rifts RM. Say hi too.
Howdy.
Okay, well, welcome both of you. First off, I would like to congratulate both of you in making the second round. Seeing in the first round there were many of these so-called upset matches, such as Black Widow's amazing victory against last season's champions, the Last Pride, showing that this competition this round was a lot more intense than it was last round. Okay. So guys, I would like to start in saying, throughout the season, Rifts have been running their fast cast Mesmer Ellie spike, and many guilds, even the top guilds, have been having a hard time against this heavy offensive build. Elendar. Okay, let's see. On Esoteric Warriors, we have Shidori carrying Ward versus Elements, and you as a Ritualist are carrying Soul Twisting and Shelter and Union. And I see on Dorm you have Martyr to help counter the blinding flash that most of Rifts carries. I would like to ask you, how did you guys go into this match? And because you seemed pretty prepared going in, expecting that Rifts would be running their fast cast air spike.
We'd actually lost to it, though I hadn't been playing, apparently, about a week or so, a bit less before the end of the open season of the ladder. So, considering we lost to it with our warrior build, which we're famous for, that's about the only build we'd run, we were expecting they'd run it again, because they know it's strong against it. So, we just thought of possible counters we could bring to the fast spike, and got all the new skills in, so we thought we'd try a Ritualist. We're just messing around, because we'd had the two in the Feast of Corruption spike we've been trying before. So thought we'd try Shelter Ritualist. Seemed like quite a good idea to stop all their spikes. So we tried it with Ritual Lord first and found it couldn't really keep Shelter up fast enough against the speed of the spikes. We just had a go with Soul Twisting, and at this point I played Soul Twisting once before, so you'll see a few times in the match where Shelter goes down. Like currently I'm casting Shadow Song because I've messed up my Shelter Twisting.
Yeah, they have
But we did
very high defense against our spike.
Yeah, we weren't sure they were going to run it, so it's not like we took full counters. You know, we don't have a wall of stability, which a lot of people have been advising us to run against them. But we didn't want to angle our build too much towards it in case they ran one of their pressure builds or warrior spike builds.
Okay.
I do see a mantra of lightning on one of their monks. Which is,
that wasn't actually meant to be in there. Most of us were telling Death before the game, don't take the mantra. If they don't run it, it's a useless skill. Because we were half expecting it to be some sort of hex pressure, so we didn't really want him taking it, but he refused and took it anyway. And it turned out to be quite a good thing he did.
Yeah, it's pretty lucky. Hey, RM, what made Rifts decide to run the fast cast spike anyway? Did you feel that EW maybe weren't going to be expecting that this was going to be brought in?
Well, basically, we were planning on running a pressure spike, like Elendar said, but unfortunately, one of our core members had to leave to a wedding, so he couldn't play with us, and we had no choice but to run the fast cast spike and play it as best as we could.
How did you prepare yourself against EW? I mean, EW is pretty much known for their warrior spike and how powerful it is. You have a lot of blinding flashes. Did you take any extra measures against it?
Basically, yeah, we have the blinding flashes, and we also brought in ward against. I think we brought in ward against melee, and also Shinobi's running power return for the ward against elements.
We did notice a power return actually, though we'd thought that had been put in case we ran the Feast of Corruption spike.
Yeah, that was another reason why we ran them as Elias. If they ran the Feast of Corruption spike would do a lot better against that build.
Yeah, we'd unrated Rustcorp before this game on their Mesmerellis, because they played quite a lot as well, so we thought it'd be quite a good test. Feast of Corruption Spike had won, but it'd been quite a close match, with the Warriors with all these counters in being fairly simple really, just because there's so much anti-spike.
I really do like Rustcorp running our Mesmerelli. They're probably one of the best guilds that run the build efficiently. Like other guilds that run it, they bring their own stuff and just mess up.
Yeah, RM, how do you feel that this Rift's original build, that you guys started the fast cast air spike with the Mesmers, and how do you feel that your build has become this quote-unquote gimmick build?
Well, I'm not surprised by it, because it does have basically 5 Ms. Ali's. Just the nature of the build itself is gimmick, but it's very efficient when run by the right players. It's half gimmick and half not, because usually gimmick builds can be run by anyone, but this build is very hard to run by just anyone because of the nature of it. We have multiple callers, and the split, you have to be really good with the split also. And that's about, I guess it is the gimmick build, and half gimmick, half not, I'd say.
Yeah, and Elendar, with these so-called gimmick builds, you know, such as the fast cast, Ellie Spike, I-Way, Thumper Way, Blood Spike, how does EW try to adjust to defend against these sort of builds? Do you...
Mostly against Thumpers, our general tactic so far has to be run away. We're not particularly great against them. Is to take in enough stuff to beat Thumpers reliably. You're gimping yourselves against a lot of other builds, just because you need so much anti-melee. Against Spike, well, like I say, we lost just before the end of the season to Rifts. So, in a way, we probably are weak to gimmick builds. Same way, really, if you're not prepared for a gimmick build, you are going to be weak for it. Like, when we ran our Feast of Corruption Spike against DMT in first game, they weren't prepared for it. It's just the surprise of it. If you're not ready for it, you're going to have a lot of problems.
Well, part of being prepared for certain builds, especially with this spike, what made you decide to choose the Imperial Isle? Most people say that it gives advantage towards the spikers because there's not really exactly a place for someone to hide, and it's not efficient in splitting.
Yeah, we like it because, as you see, our builds are quite good 8v8, and we're not famous for being the best in victory or death, as some people have noted before in playoffs. It's just very good, we think, if you're prepared for it, to crush splits. So, because there's nowhere really you can go along the side. If you take out a thief early as well, people can't get into your base, so it's quite a good map to run against assassins. Found it out against War Machine when we ran into them. They were testing a build as well. I think there's a monk assassin and an assassin to try and get into the base. And because of the nature of the map, we managed to stop their split quite easily. So against builds that rely on split, this map does seem to help a lot. Initially when we saw it, when it was first out, it looked like it was going to be good for splitting with all the teleporters and the sheer size of it, but it doesn't really seem that way.
Yeah, it does give, this map does give a lot of mobility for your warriors to get around, and if you're watching the match now, Warrior Silly's been hit down, is it 4 times?
Yeah, he's about 45% DP right now.
Was Rifts planning on anything and calling any sort of strategies just in case that Silly does get DP'd out at this time in the game?
Right now we're about planning on... we're trying to get down the Ritualist, and then maybe get the Ellie. I don't think we have a hard reser for this build, but it looks like right now we're just falling back to the base. Maybe take it to VOD so we have a much stronger spike.
Yeah, at this point we'd taken out their runner. I'm not sure if you saw it just before, I think it was about 9 minutes 50, so he rezzed in their base. I think that's one of the reasons they fell back as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Right now, what we were trying to do is go to the top, maybe try to get a spike on the Guild Thief when they come in, and as you will see, it doesn't go through effectively.
It's probably the work of the spirits again. As you see, I'm slowly soul twisting them closer and closer. We're trying to keep them out of the range of the mesmers.
Okay, Elendar, I have to ask you honestly. So, was EW afraid of putting some of your anti-spike skills on maybe yourself and Shidori, especially from last season? Were you afraid of getting the Era 7 spike and losing some of your players who could defend against their spike?
Didn't really consider actually. Possibly we should have, considering most of it is on me and Shad actually. So if we had Era 7'd out, we would have been in quite a lot of trouble. But no, we didn't consider it.
Well, at least this match.
Thing is,
pretty
all of
well.
us is Era 7'd at some point, so we can't really do stuff like that.
And how was it to actually monk against this sort of spike? Was it really difficult?
Well, as a boon prot, pretty much they have I think Shatter enchant and Drain enchant. It's pretty hard to pre-pot Swan, just because they can just use that prot as their spike damage, and I basically try to hope for the best and catch the spike. I did try to pre-prot, and as you will see when they come in and try to get silly, I do catch it, but then they kill him after. It's pretty hard. Their spike is pretty hard to get, especially with all the gales and the shock. It's a very good spike.
Yeah, the Galing, well, both sides you can see use it a lot to try and get the kills in.
Okay, well at this point is EW trying to push into the base, or just still kind of have a stalemate and wait until
We've been
the
pondering what to do for a while, because they're up on the wall, we didn't really want to get spiked from the wall, and then we decided that it's where you see us now, we could probably hide down there without getting hit, so we move in there carefully, just try and get the cover so they couldn't spike us from above. And we'd waited for a boost as well, because I died and I think Dorm had died within about 10 seconds of each other at one point, so we wanted us both to be on 10% when we went in.
Yes, you just got your second morale boost.
Yeah, so at this point we're on 10% both of us, so start to push in some. And yeah, you can see them trying to take our thief out, so I assume if we have to push back, it gets us stuck outside.
Okay, well, we see at this point that EW has pushed into the base.
And we're going back to we're heading back to the guild more just about now to turtle.
At this point as well, you see Rift's emo starting to run out the side. I'm not entirely sure what. Well, yeah, flag. So I keep forgetting the flag's outside on this map.
Yeah.
Yes, it does make it really hard. Oh, and Silly just died again.
Yep. Right now, Silly right now is DP'd out, so we're a little short on the spike, and pretty much they can push in and hurt us pretty bad without suffering so much damage from spikes.
So was your Risk's only plan at this point was to turtle and wait until VOD to try to pull in some last minute?
Basically we're trying to take it to VOD to have the extra damage, like I said, and I was crossing my fingers someone from their team would go get an Air 7, basically.
It has been known to happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's this match.
Yeah, it's pushing in. We're being very careful because we're quite worried that if we push in too hard for bodyguards, we could get spiked out. And if someone gets spiked and reses in base, it could cause us quite a lot of problems. We just want to be very careful now because it's first match.
Yeah,
See, I'm hanging back a lot to keep twisting both spirits.
Where's Acid going? He's running off. Okay.
He's gone off to help kill the
emo
flag runner.
Yeah,
We told him not to, but that never seems to help.
He's just trying to give a little support.
Yeah, with a wand.
So Risk is not carrying a hard res on this build?
No, we don't have a hard res. We probably should have put it on the emo. Would have been a good idea.
Was the lack of hard res this match something that was resulted in you running with 2 hard reses and the thumpers, or you're going to have the 2 anyway?
I'm not quite sure how the build was set, cause for the second match, cause I was just really tired and I really didn't care.
It looked a lot like you'd seen us lose to thumpers the day before on fire, so you run it because of that rather than you were actually a bit prepared for it.
Yeah, we really didn't have any experience running that build, so some of our guys didn't actually play as well as they should have been.
Okay, at this point we have EW pushing in fully to the bodyguards, but
We're still not really pushing in, we're just trying to spike a few of them out, build up DP on them, because we don't want to push in and have the bodyguard's pressure result in some of us dying.
yeah, because there are certain cases where there are teams who are actually turtling, and when the other team tries to push in too hard and too fast, they don't watch their monks' energies, they can completely wipe and have the game completely turn around. So it's
It's happened to us a few times. Like the match before against CMT, we pushed too hard against the thumpers on fire once we pushed them back. And then Def got stuck and we got in large problems.
Basically right now I'm just trying to keep the archers and our infuser up.
What was that? I heard rumours you were drinking at something like this point into a match as well.
Yeah, pretty much
Drinking?
I kind of I kind of just gave up, maybe. maybe not, but I just started drinking some dwarven ale for fun. But
Is that the mentality that a monk should be having?
well, it didn't really affect me that much. I've been getting used to monking while drunk, and well, since the UI doesn't get affected by it, you can pretty much tell what to do, and you can also use the mini-map for getting around.
I'm sure
Not
Divine
worth a
is
try.
very pleased with you. So have you received your drunkard title yet?
Not yet, but I'm working on it.
It does sound like you're getting well on your way towards it.
Yeah.
It's just a
Right
point
now.
where, like outside, the match has just become waiting to spike for both sides, really. I think it's one of the boring things about sort of spike builds, where both sides have got heavy spike that each others are worried about, so you just end up sitting back. You just don't really get a flowing fight as much as sort of pressure builds. But the next match, although the deaths are mostly on the sides of rifts, it's very backwards and forwards.
What is EW thinking at this point if the match went to VOD, what they'd be doing for strategy-wise?
We're trying to knock them out as much as possible, take out guards as well as players, so if it did come to VOD, we wouldn't be in a situation where we'd have to fall back out of base and risk the possibility of them splitting, but because of the way the map's set up, we're fairly confident that we'd be able to contain the split if they did try at VOD. But at the same time, we were quite worried because we have lost quite a few times in VOD in the past,
And risk
so we're
damage
trying to
is
avoid it as
just-
much as possible.
Once VOD occurs and the Rifts get their extra damage boost, it's just a lot more pressure on your 2-month backline.
In theory it shouldn't really be, because the shelter should contain it exactly the same as it had before, so it
This
shouldn't
is-
really make much difference.
This is
But it's
basically
more the
when it
fact we're
turns
just
around.
still bodyguard.
Yeah. I just got killed. Divine got killed, and I got shocked and killed. So. And I just.
Now
got
if you wait
raised.
for the timing on the next death on Divine as well, I think it's Divine now.
Yeah, Divine gets killed because I just got raised and I'm out of
Yeah,
energy
RM
and
was
get
just
killed.
scaled at this point.
Rifts, yeah, Divine dies on the 22 minutes, so it's 2 minutes they can't res per monk.
That's right. And I'm about to get killed right now. With yeah, the guild spike is very hard to protect against.
Yeah, we were expecting it a lot from you as well, which is one of the reasons for having spirits as counters, is the gale wouldn't affect them, so we still have the effective prot spirit.
And pretty much at this point, we have only 3 people from Rifts up, and the bodyguards are going down. Oh,
At this
and
point we're just trying to
people
kill
just
the
resigned.
mesmers off, so we can't be blinded while we're trying to kill the Lord.
Yeah, they have a full minute to kill the Lord, and they're just gonna go for it. Pretty much over by now.
Well, you have your emo running out. Maybe he can go cap a flag and get a morale boost.
Yeah,
And at this point it's just because we're not too worried about the Emo, because we know we can kill it in time.
yeah, it's pretty much pointless at this point.
And the victory.
God, I was so nervous before this match. So nice to win.
Well, good work to both of you in this match. I am proud.
Well, thank you.
And thank you.
So, to wrap things up, do you guys have any last minute things you'd like to say?
I suppose traditionally we should say hooray, hooray, well done each other and stuff like that.
Cheers.
Yep, cheers. And if you want to donate to my drunkard title, my in-game name is Arm. Fill it out.
If you want to donate to my Shinies fund, because I'm poor, send me things.
Okay, well, I guess this about wraps it up. Thank you for listening to our commentary.
Thanks for letting us come on. It was good fun.
Thanks for having me.
Ta-ta, bye.